ain't that just a pretty sight right there, brother? Dang, bro, nice trailer. Wonder where you got that from. Damn, bro. This you? What is up, Sideways fam? It's a new week of Sideways, and I got another Mark IV here. Our buddy Ulysses Black Blitz Mk4 just pulled up right now. We're gonna go ahead and unload it off the trailer. This car made about 680 wheel horsepower last time it was here. Coming in for some new upgrades. It's got a fully built RM54 in it, 2JZ GTE Vvti. It's on AEM Infinity with a CAN system and everything else, like all the rest of the cars that we do. We're gonna be going for twin pumps and a couple other things, but the car's absolutely beautiful. It's the Blitz Mk4. So let's get right into it and I'll show you guys what's up. You're cool. All right, guys, so we're finally working on Ulysses Mk4 right here. It's on the rack. We already got it all done. We're gonna go ahead and pull off the fuel lines right now and start putting the PTE line in. It's gonna be very similar to Eddie's build because basically we're not gonna be changing injector. I believe he has 12-1300 similar to Eddie. So last time on his video, if you watched and you learned anything from that video, the injector was only at about 80% after you go ahead and bump up to a, more volume, so bigger internal size of your fuel lines. So the OEM lines are 5/16, so it basically is a -6AN, close to a -6AN. It's more like a -4AN fuel line. Initially the lines were up in the car underneath, underneath the factory system, running all the way to the front to where it feeds up to the engine. This car does have a RM54 in it. So the limits of where we're going to be able to go horsepower wise are going to be another factor. Unlike Eddie's car where he has a V160, this car may only be able to do 800 wheel, before the transmission just is beyond its efficiency in the car. So beautiful car. Can't wait to get on the dyno. Can't wait to get my buddy back on the road. We're going to be going up to Comp, picking up his turbo. He's ordered the same exact turbo that we ordered from Drew Peacock. That's going to be a 6870 triple ball bearing because it's Comp. Comp doesn't do dual ball bearing. They have their own technology. And we're actually going with their water-cooled turbo. So if you don't want to use a oilless or oil turbo, they have a water-cooled turbo. They actually also have an oilless turbo that you don't have to run anything in the car. Or like any lines at all, but that's more for like a race application or like an exhaust application. So I didn't want to necessarily try that on it. There are other people online that are running the oilless. I'm not sure if that's going to be really the right move for the customer. So on his stuff, we're going to go ahead and go oilless and just water cooled. I'm going to have to do a little bit of plumbing because I pretty much block off all the water lines on the engines whenever we do any of our swaps. So this is going to be kind of difficult. I'm not really sure what I'm going to have to do on that end of it, but stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and get the Powerhouse Racing Assembly put in. I won't bore you guys with walking through the whole system of how we do it, like all the rest of the cars. You guys have already seen it in 2 or 3 or 4 videos now, but I will show you when it is installed. I will show you with it being assembled, just to show people who don't know much about this that there are other videos online about this, and we'll get right into it. Okay guys, so fuel system's out. Got his 525 just kind of sitting there on the floor. We're gonna go ahead and put the PHR setup in right now and start fixing all this and hopefully be able to rip all this crap out because I don't know what in the fuck audio relay system they wired into the fuel pump after we did the car last time. So what happens when you take your car somewhere else after the car's done? I mean, I'm not really knocking it because I'm not really sure exactly what they did. It just looks like the fuel pump wiring here to your bypass is all done over here where the fuel ECU is in the fender, like rear quarter, I guess. And then I already have this bridge back here and it looks like they like jumped some speaker wire into the wire that's right here. It's just really weird how somebody would do that with something like that. But I mean, we're ripping all this out anyways. So I'm gonna do one of my new style fuel systems. If you've seen any other videos too, like in Emax's car, Eddie's car, Ray's car, I mean, I basically run a complete sub-harness from the ECU, which is the Infinity, all the way up around, mount the relays on the firewall back here, and then it goes into the battery and the battery box in the trunk. So let's get the fuel pump assembly on and let's get right into it. All right, guys, and the Beauty is ready to go in. Gotta love Powerhouse Racing. It's a beautiful, beautiful unit, guys. We use these in pretty much all of our builds that are going for high horsepower applications. Only putting 2 in for now. We'll put a 3rd in later if he really needs it. But 2 pumps should be good for almost 1,000 horsepower, so let's get it. All right, guys, so now that the hanger's installed, stage is already removed, the turbo out of off the manifold, already cleaned everything up. We're already installing the new turbo here. As we can see, we got one of our 2JZ GTE Vvti setups in here with the peak boost manifold. Everything's already done. This car is a 96 Mk4 Supra, hardtop, full blitz kit, roll cage, built RM54. So wait for his video. He's gonna have a sick ass dyno, this thing on the dyno, which will also probably integrate possibly in this video as well, depending on how long it ends up being. This thing is just looking super badass and super cool. Cannot wait to install this. I'm probably gonna have to weld a 45 degree on it because of the clearance we're gonna have down here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing installed and get it done. All right, guys, so we are installing the brand new oilless comp turbo right now. You can see the pretty thing right there with turbo ball bearing housing this thing's got. So we got lucky to where I guess they didn't have the blade that we needed in stock, so they went ahead and gave us an anodized one for free for no extra charge. Everything fits exactly how it's supposed to fit because it already had a comp turbo on it, so that is super awesome. I have a separate video that's going up as well, talking about this turbo and kind of the differences and what it does. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and start getting the front housing welded. I've already tacked it on because we have to run a 45 off the turbo because it's very, very tight. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and get the turbo together. Pretty good. All right, guys, so I've already gone ahead and welded on the 45 onto the housing. We're installing the turbo right now. There is a lot more room on this one, but I do have to say I do love the anodized blade. You can actually get the rear housings anodized and a bunch of other stuff too. With these turbos, you can go ahead and get that kind of stuff done. We've done gold, black, powder coating, anodizing, all kinds of different stuff. So definitely recommend comp turbo if you're trying to make it look really, really pretty. Not to mention this is a super, super badass unit. So, I mean, I would consider this 100% for anybody who's looking to do something different or has a tight application where you're not gonna be able to fit certain stuff. I think this is gonna make the bay look quite a bit cleaner as well. It's pretty good, guys. It's pretty big in there, actually. I like it. Me like it. All right, guys, let's give her some quick revs. All right, guys, so it's morning. It is Thursday. We're going on dyno today. Everything is complete in the car. We got to burn off all the nasty oil and shit that was all in the exhaust, so it's going to be a little smoky today, but we got to get it done. We're going to go ahead and fill the car up with some E85 right now. We're going to go ahead and get over to Danny's, and then pretty much we're going to just try to max this thing out and see what it does. Hopefully it all holds together. This engine's been in his other vehicle and in his kind of other cars for the last probably 5 or 6 years. So it's been abused, it's been used. So I don't know. Let's just see how the day goes. We're trying to get from 680 to hopefully let's say 750, just so that we can beat Drew's number and Eddie's number and everything. But I guess let's see how the day goes. This is the comp turbo, the oilless, for anybody who forgot. So anyways, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get over there and we'll get it right now. All right, guys, so we're back on dyno right now. Car's here, all loaded up. All the fuel system stuff's done in the back. I'll go ahead and show you guys a quick shot of that after we're done with the dyno. So we're gonna get everything all warmed up. We're gonna go ahead and do drivability, make sure everything's good to go again, and then we'll start boosting the power up. We'll see what this turbo can does, and then maybe what we'll also do as well in this video is we're gonna line up his old stuff so we can see what the gains were from his old tune at 680 with the 6865 non ball bearing versus his 6870, sorry, in triple ball bearing billet oilless. So, and then maybe if we do more power than Drew's car, we'll also line up Drew stuff and see what we can do versus precision versus comp. I kind of still have my money on comp, only because of the fact of the AR that I chose is what I would have liked to have ordered for Drew's car. But I don't know, we'll see how it all ends up at the end. Hopefully it holds up and holds together. All right, guys, so car's out of here. We did 667 horsepower, so there was about a 20 horsepower loss. We did gain more torque, and we did gain more mid-range power on it, but it looks like we went ahead and had an intercooler. Basically, IAT started to skyrocket above 26 pounds, so we couldn't really bring it up above that. So plan is, I'm assuming, to upgrade the intercooler, enjoy it for what it is now, and then possibly come back for just a quick little bump to get him above and into the numbers where Drew and Eddie's car. So yes, Drew, you still hold the highest power rating. We tried to beat you, it did not work this time. Maybe next time. So we're gonna go ahead and head back to the shop right now, and then the customer will be on his way. All right, guys, so sorry for the inconsistency on the video stuff. The customer was asking a lot of questions and kind of had a lot of things to say about dyno, so we didn't really end up getting as much footage as I would have liked to during the whole process or whatnot. So basically, he was getting upset because his IATs were peaking, and last time they weren't peaking, and I'm like, well, the turbo system is different now than it was before. Now, the car came in with an engine that was smoking, and the whole entire exhaust was covered in oil because the turbo was literally just blowing oil out the back of it, all into the exhaust and all over everything, and it was a freaking mess. So we went ahead and went with the oilless system just because we didn't want to have these problems again of just smelling oil and burning oil and everything. And he doesn't really know, and we don't really know without ripping the engine apart, what's going on beyond the fact that the turbos just keep blowing out. And I mean, I think it's probably an oiling problem, which is what I explained in the other video. But basically, his oil pressure is pretty high when it fires up, but after it fires up, it gets down to pretty much normal where a GTE engine would be. So it's kind of abnormal. I don't really know what the deal was. I mean, like, we prime our turbos, we do everything the way that we're supposed to do it. We break in our turbos properly. We, you know, like, it's just, I don't know what the deal was. The turbos last like a few weeks, and then it just goes to crap. So delete all that, get rid of all that. But anyways, so if anybody has any kind of like issues with the way that I recorded all this stuff, usually I'm a little bit more diligent and I'm able to kind of give you guys a little bit more of like what's going on. The overall thing with this turbo was it could have made more power, and it probably would have been very consistent with what he had on it before. A 6865 is not much different than a 6871. Your rear blade is a little bit bigger, so you're gonna go ahead and have more area to make more power on the top end if your engine can carry that up to where it needs to go. And I would assume that with the oilless turbo, it probably creates more heat. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe, maybe not. I have no way of doing that without having data from the turbo at the turbine speed and the exhaust temp out the turbo. I won't be able to really give you any kind of info on that, except for we need to test it a couple more times. The turbo still performed flawlessly. Like, I have zero issue with it. The turbo sounds great. I'm super happy with it. But the end result, yes, was the car made 680 wheel horsepower last time. And I believe it was like 10, 20 or 18 horsepower less than what it made last time. But the thing was, is he gained mid-range power. And on the top, the turbo comes in like a couple hundred RPM faster. And basically, I'm not saying that the transmission can't hold it. If it's fully built and it hasn't been super abused and whatever, I've seen people do, you know, 800 wheel, 850 wheel, even 900 wheel. It all just depends on how you drive a transmission. So for anybody who's buying any of our Marlin upgrade fully built transmissions, yes, you can still do whatever you need to do. It's all on how you drive, what tire you're doing, and just like the complete overall build of the engine. So in his sense, the customer honestly was upset about the outcome of the dyno. So he kind of actually asked me to stop recording, which is what I did out of respect for my friend. He's a really, really old time long friend of mine. And I had to kind of calm him down. After he drove the car and he got into it and got back, he had a big old smile on his face that was, you know, ear to ear. And it was kind of the same thing where, once again, even with Q's car in the IS300, like, dude, your intercooler was the problem. It wasn't the turbo's problem. It wasn't your engine's problem. Your intake air temperature started climbing through the roof and the car started to lose power. So it was only going to be happy at 26 pounds. If we had done 30, it would have done 720 or 725, or maybe even better than Drew's. But in his sense, we ran what he brought. So run what you brung. And this is what the outcome was again. So for anybody who's trying to do above 680 wheel and, you know, is planning on maybe running one of these turbos and it's bigger, you might want to consider maybe running a bigger intercooler. And I mean, he had a decent sized core. It wasn't one of the cores we typically put in all of our Mark IVs. I believe that intercooler wasn't available when we went ahead and used it. And I mean, it carried into 680 horsepower. So hey, I mean, that's plenty good for what it is. The engine is literally bone stock. So it's like intake manifold, cams, you know, injectors, and a 3-inch exhaust, and he's making that kind of power. And as of what we've seen so far with Drew's car, the highest we've gotten is somewhere around 730, 740 wheel on the setups that we put out. So I would like to beat the number. I would like to do more. I would like to have more information, but we're just gonna have to keep on working at this to see what we can do to change it. I think with the stock engine stuff, these are great numbers, guys. I mean, you can't just immediately assume that everything that we're going to go ahead and put out there is going to be 1,000 wheel horsepower. Like, you guys, you need to put pistons and rods and build the heads and valve springs and retainers and, you know, port the heads and stuff too if you want to make these crazy numbers at like really low boost numbers. And at 8 to 5 to 1 compression, I mean, those are fucking great numbers, you guys. So anyways, guys, without rambling and going on and on about this, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any comments or any feedback, hey, I'm ready for the negative. If you guys have anything to say, like, I know it wasn't recorded the best way that it could have been done, but I'm still going to go ahead and put it out there because I want to promote this turbo. I think it's a great unit, a great product that is going to make everyone's life a hell of a lot easier. And typically a street car, you guys, 600-700 horsepower in a street car, I say 500-600 horsepower in a street car is a great fucking number. So anyways, guys, any questions, any comments, let me know. Anything you guys want to know, I'm here to help you guys. And until next time, guys, peace.